Hello, Deluk2 here. If you're reading this right now, I have already left the community. As much as I wanted to stay here, I just can't due to certain circumstances. But there's just one more core game that I have right here. You may think that I'm crazy for creating a computer core during this time period, but I did it for a few reasons. To remake the past, as well as push one last update. However, this is a game that I hold on to tightly, as it's more on the personal side of things. This is not meant to be a game for players to play on a regular basis. It's a game that I wanted a lot of people to hear and talk about. For me, it's more than just a computer core or a meltdown simulator. It's a memory locker for the times I had in the aforementioned community. Anyways, instead of badges, pretend that they're called memories. I should probably get you set up as well for your first time playing, so... There, now you can enjoy hanging around the facility. You'll unlock more things. Hello player, if you are listening to this, welcome to my memory locker. Internal Corporation is much more than just singularity containment site, and this game in particular. Well, this is a story of how it all began. It was 2016 and 11-year-old me created the Intelligent Builders brand. Yep, I know, Internal Corporation didn't exist at that time. The first thing I had built back then was an Intelligent Builders computer core, but it was the HQ itself. It's literally a copy of PPHQ, I know. And now, here's Intelligent Builders computer core. Wait, that's the wrong one. Thankfully I didn't release this one, otherwise I would get a ton of backlash. There we go. This is what ICCC used to look like, and it's the very first version of ICCC. I actually took an uncompiled game called Green Tech Computer Core and then rebranded the entire game. Yeah, I do not have any knowledge of building back then, and the only thing I was doing is making logos and such using MS Paint. The funny thing about this game is that I kept rewriting the meltdown during its development. But then, for some apparent reason, it exploded in the community back in the same year as well. I'm not sure how did that happen, but I was enjoying my newfound fame as well. I did get to meet new people as well and make friends with some of them. There's one friend that I met that I'm still friended to this day. Anyways, that's the end of this particular memory. Here's the more memories in this game. Thank you for listening.
Yes, it was also the same year when I created IBCC. Out of all the people I met back in 2016, one stood out of the other. It's YT Police Force, and when I met him back then, he was known as Factbook 2. We first met in the comment section when that was a thing before it was removed, and eventually I made him an admin in IBCC. Then he brings along Vexurai Next, known as the Coder is Cool 202 when we first met. From here, they both became admins of my game, and I even met some, let's say, some notable names in the community at the time as well. But I have forgotten some of them as well, sadly. Furthermore, YT Police Force had went on to become the head commander of the HR and co-founder. Wow, that's a long title for a rank. Other than that, I'm glad that I have met them, because without them, my journey in this community would be a lot different than what it had been. Maybe one of the aforementioned friends is reading this, and if it's you, then I wanted to extend my gratitude to you, since without you, I would be really lonely and there would be nothing much for me during the IBCC days. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for sticking along till the end.
So, one of my friends, Brian the New Guy in 323, in which I'm going to refer to as Brian for this, by the way. Brian was creating something called Brian Builders, and honestly, I really wanted to help. I ended up becoming a developer for Brian Builders, where I worked on a computer core with him. I even created a facility in space. Yeah, it was terrible for today's standards, but it's something to remember and cherish anyways. Also, Brian Builders wasn't the only group I worked with. I even worked for Ambertech and Master Productions. I do not really remember much about Ambertech, but the last thing I remember about them is that they were botted as well as hacked, which causes Ambertech to lose its founder. So, Master Production was founded. Master Productions was the successor of Ambertech, and I used to be a chairman there. Can't really remember much about it other than me being really active there, and I get to try out whatever project they were working on. But then I was exiled from the group for whatever reason, which caused me to leave their Discord server. And finally, there's a group called IT Tech Corp. Nothing much to say about it, but yeah, I made several things for them, so there's that. Not gonna lie, maybe taking a break from working alone is such a breath of fresh air for me, and it was fun collaborating with others. It's sad that some of them are short-lived, but I had fun regardless. Yep, that's the end of this memory. See you in the next one. Yes. I vividly remember the days where I was toxic in IBCC's comment section before I eventually closed it. I got comments where I had been told that IBCC is a copy of PBCC, in which it's false because of its layout in the first place. But in reality, it's a copy of GTCC. Well, even though with the aforementioned comments that I received back then, within it are comments saying that I had used a lot of free models, or basically a bad game in general. And I ended up attacking people who criticized the game, and threatened to create a script which bans people that dislike the game. I scoffed at how I acted to others back then, and I deeply apologize if it's one of you in the comments back in 2016. I honestly deserved these criticisms back then, and I did try to build as well, but obviously my builds were utterly trash. Same goes with my scripting as well, even though I'm proud of an operating system I have made on this platform. Anyways, thanks for listening to this memory. Kinda wanna lambast my past for being too, Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Well, that's one way to try to fix my mistakes, but ended up doing the same mistake all over again. It was 2017, and 1 year has passed ever since I had released Intelligent Builds Computer Core to the public. To celebrate it, I decided to develop something called IBCC Rebirth. It was basically an overglorified version of the first version of IBCC, but with a new twist. It is obviously still a clone of GTCC, but to me, it's more of me refining IBCC. There were promised features that actually made it in, such as the working emergency coolant. For some apparent reason, there's a transit system in here as well. I'm not quite sure why it's that there if it only hits the decoolant area, but it's there, I guess. Also, during the development of IBCC Rebirth, I made an account called IBCC Rebirth, where people can send friend requests to that account so they can play test IBCC Rebirth. I abandoned that account after the beta version has released, and I sadly lost access to the account. Also, yep, that's all for this memory. I still find the RGB mainframe hilarious though. Yeah, I thought it was a great idea back then, but it kind of looks like a wannabe way to make a mainframe gaming to me now.